Hello and welcome to the Dungeons and Dragons: The Darkened Wish the series. This is season 2, episode 6. Every day is a crossroads. I'm your storyteller, B. Dave Walters, and I got to tell you, literally all day today, I've been messing up just the simplest things. Left is right, up is down, getting counted in to start this show. So I can't really be held responsible for whatever's about to happen in this episode, even though I am nearly solely responsible for whatever is about to happen in this episode. Now, that being said, let's meet our heroes. Starting off first with D'Artagnan.
Hello, I'm D'Artagnan Mattaliano, and I play Xander, the human warrior or fighter warrior, warrior fighter of warriors. All right.
You know, every single one of those things is true. All of it. All of those things are still factually accurate. Yeah. Sam?
I'm your fallen angel, Asmar, Sam Leve, playing Aiden.
He's a sweet boy. He's just a little singed. That's all. Aki?
Hi, everybody. I'm Aki, and I will be playing your elven twin clerics, Kerrin and Karrin.
I got Aki right. There you go. There you go. There was one, and it took a supreme amount of. I had an action ready to say Aki correctly. By the way, like that's where I was in my mind. Alcuin.
Hey, I'm Alcuin Gersh, and I'm playing Rayonde, the Dragonborn monk.
And last but certainly not least, May.
Hi there, I'm Mayleigh Damage, and I am playing Helene, the wizard.
And thank you to Jeff from Q Times. Although the gag you all is there is no Jeff from Q Times. There's a Jake that I just keep calling Jeff. And for bonus points, I haven't talked to anyone named Jeff like all day today, so I don't even know where it's coming from. Just somewhere in the recesses of my psyche is that's where we are. I'm gonna say that Jake's middle name is Jeff, and he can't tell me otherwise. Actually, he can. He's got the voice of God, but you, dear viewer, won't know. So it's on the internet, and I said it out loud now. So that's the thing. I will say this, but thank you to Q Times for making this possible. You're watching us on twitch.tv/D&D, but we are doing it with Q Times resources and production crew, so thank you all. As independent content creators, we rely both on your generosity in the form of bits and tips, but also in the form of supporting our sponsors who make this show possible, like D&D Beyond, the official tool set of Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition. You can create your characters. They have an amazing new player app, which is like super useful, quite frankly, far superior to the old one, which I can say now that they've got a better option. Initiative tracker, spells, all of that, and all the supplements become available there first. You'll be able to get your hands on a digital edition of Rime of the Frost Maiden. We were talking about farces a second ago, and I really was like Rime of the Farce Maiden, but I feel like that's a campaign that we're going to play before that one comes out. Rime of the Frost Maiden will be available first on D&D Beyond. So go ahead and sign up and, play like the cool kids play. Dogmite Games, the makers of my beloved DM screen and other kick-ass gaming products. You can get your own custom DM screen based on 30 different templates that you can customize, or pick one of the dope ones that they've already got. So visit Dogmite Games to find out more. Level Up Dice. I'm partnering with Level Up Dice to deliver high quality, pinky up, luxury gaming accoutrement. This in here, these are my Egyptian marble dice, which is dope. I feel like I really kind of arrived when I got those, honestly, that I have Egyptian marble dice. They make dice out of all sorts of interesting metals and gems and other accoutrements. So check it out. Get the pair that is perfect for you. You can use my own personal link, which is bit.ly.com/LUDB Dave Walters to find out more. And last but certainly not least, Games for Love. Games for Love is a 501c3 kindness-oriented charity aimed at easing the suffering of children. Even though right now with the COVID crisis, oftentimes you hear it doesn't affect children as often, which is true, unless they already have compromised immune systems, which a lot of times children that are sick have had to go into very heavy quarantine, oftentimes away even from other kids or their own parents. So that can be very lonely and very isolating. So we are raising money for them to buy things like gaming consoles, Switches, Xbox controllers, and things of the like. Every $10 directly impacts the lives of 2 children. So please visit gamesforlove.org to find out more. And now, on with our story. When last we met, you all were transported on a grand adventure, one deep into the depths of an underdark to face a horrific foe. And on the way back, through the celestial plane of Arborea, for what ended up being a pleasant afternoon that stretched into multiple afternoons. And once we found out you all would stay there until Aiden went to sleep, and he did everything in his power to stay up for as long as he possibly could. Aiden, give me a con check. Let's see just how far you made it before sleep overtook you.
Oh, that's cocked. 16.
16. I'll say you made it well into the third day. Aiden, in this plane of eternal sunshine, which again, you never quite saw the sun come up or go down. It would just get a little brighter and then kind of dusk, and then a little brighter and then kind of dusk. And somewhere along that third day, you just sat down to rest your eyes for just a second,
I'm just resting
and
him.
you,
I'm just resting him. I'm
just,
not sleeping.
yeah,
I'm not actually sleeping.
and you awake in darkness, Aiden. It takes a moment for you to realize it's almost like putting on your own body like an old garment. And it takes a second after that, you realize that you're under heavy blankets of some sort. And as you instinctively sort of slide your hands along your hips, your knives are not there. And in fact, you're in your small clothes.
What the what? Knife? Where?
Oh, no, wait. Hey, hello, friend. A familiar voice sort of comes out of the side as a door creaks open and a head pops in, and you see a face that honestly it feels like was weeks ago. Calliope, the rogue that you rescued in Crestholm, who joined
Yeah, the
you
blue one.
in the battle. Yes, and she floats in. I say float, she does walk, but it does seem almost like her hair is perpetually alighted by some strange force, like she's underwater. And there is just a faint radiance from her face, which you know belies her lethality because you saw how swiftly she stabbed that beholder. But she is now all cleaned up and wearing a gown befitting a lady, and comes in with a cup of fragrant smelling tea of some sort. And she just says, tea?
Uh, yes. Thank you, T.
And she just hands it out to you. It is magnificent. These water Havians have the most quaint provincial recipes.
We're in water. Where are we? What's going on?
Oh, dear. And she reaches out and puts her hand on your forehead. And it is warm and it's got almost like a little bit of a tingle to it. And she's like, no fever. In fact, you might be a little clammy. Um,
I'm mm,
do you mind if I you can look to see what's wrong with you?
I take a moment. Take one more moment. Okay. Uh, yes.
She puts her hands on both sides of your face there, and you see her eyes open a little wide, and they have a pleasing sort of golden glow to them. And then you swear for just a second, you see what almost looks like a second pair of nearly spectral eyes open over them. And she stares at you for a moment, and she just goes, oh, 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 ah, oh, oh. And you do see like a single tear kind of comes out of her eyes. And she goes, uh, and she slowly takes her hands away from your face, and she just gently takes one of your hands and she says, that was quite a lot, Aiden.
I was just trying to think of like house cats and like washing dishes and coiling ropes.
Uh, the figure, the one in black, do you understand what that was? And she like is clearly like rubbing your hand. Because I get a real sense that you don't.
Maybe I don't fully. No, I have no idea what's going on. Can you tell me anything, please? Help.
I can. Some of this explanation I think your friends are probably going to need to hear as well, but this part is just for you. And when she says it, her mouth stops moving, but you hear her voice in your head. She says, "You never know who's listening. I trust Astenor with my life, but he still butts his nose in places they don't belong. You are an Asimar. You have a sort of guardian spirit that watches over you. Like, the humans talk about guardian angels and the like. The truth is, the angels really couldn't care less what happens to them if you ask me, but you in particular really do have one that watches over you, guides you, usually talks to you in your sleep."
That explains a lot. And he's mine?
For your whole life.
How come I get like guardian guy, not, you know, guy?
Because I think we both know you're not an guy.
Well, but every time I see someone else who's supposed to be like me, they're all sparkly.
Oh, yes, the Asimar, beautiful beings. Usually the divine spark in their blood calls them to great acts of beauty and heroism, but on occasion, some of you, dare I say, the more useful of you, follow a different path. Don't feel bad. I'm actually not so dissimilar to you. What I am is apparently very rare in these parts. Have you ever heard of a Kalashtar?
No. No.
Um, I'm human after a fashion, but I have a very, very close relationship with my guardian spirit, you might say. And when she says, she looks right at you, but those spectral eyes kind of blink over her human eyes while they stay open. Hmm. But that's enough about me for now. And if you woke up, I feel like the other ones might be. And if that wild wizard woman or that dragonborn wake up like you did, they're probably going to punch a hole through a wall or burn the house down. So we probably should get over there.
Yeah. Yeah, I just where are my knives?
Meanwhile, Helene, you also come to in a dark room, Helene. You are under blankets. There's a comfy pillow here. And you hear a loud snoring, a very loud snoring that you feel as much as here.
I start kind of poking around to feel what it is, but also not moving because I'm very cozy. So just like with my arm kind of reaching off into the abyss.
The very first thing that you notice is something terrible, Helene. Maybe the worst possible thing. Your hair is clean and straight.
What kind of fresh prestidigitation is this?
Free from its signature curls, Helene, it hangs in a long, bright red mop pretty much to your waist. And all of your coins and rocks and letters and special things are all gone from it. And as you look down, you are wearing a pink, frilly gown of some sort, befitting a child, not a warrior such as yourself.
Anyone else around here, guys? I think we've been robbed and quite possibly. I don't even know what to call this, but yeah, this isn't me. This is not me, guys. Anyone?
Aiden, give me a perception check. All the rest of you give me perception with disadvantage.
22.
You do hear your friend calling off at the end of the hall, but what do the rest of you get?
I had a 14.
14, a big old one. Rayonde successfully disbelieved. None of this is even real, man. This isn't even happening. Back to bed. Yeah, you're dreaming about what elf forest egg omelets in the morning, you know? Karrin and Kerrin?
Perception, right? That's
Yes.
going to be a 21.
Karrin and Kerrin, on the what first sounds like from some distance away, and in a moment you come to realize is through a wall. You do hear Helene's voice. Hello, I think we've been robbed. Hello. And as you come to, you realize two small beds have been pushed together side by side for the two of you to sleep.
Robbed? I don't know. She sounds kind of distressed. You okay?
Helene, you hear this vaguely through the wall.
Uh, no, maybe. I'm not sure how I feel at the moment.
You under attack?
Only in my pride.
You need our help?
And Helene will kind of stomp down to where she hears them talking, while she hears the response, and hopefully make it into the doorway and kind of point at her hair and her outfit.
As you do sort of feel your way around and you sort of stub your toe on something in the darkness, because it is black in here, Helene, and to your
Worst part's over. Worst part's over. Worst part's over.
to your human eyes, you don't know. The wall feels sort of almost slippery to the touch as you come along. It's not dirty, it just slides along something slick.
I wipe it on my dress that I don't want to have on anyways.
And you do sort of turn and crack the door open. In Aiden, you see a disturbingly coiffed Helene, straight down, shiny, literally, in all your years. Never seen it.
What happened to you?
I don't know, but I don't.
Oh,
It's a look.
Oh, there were layers of filth on that poor girl. I didn't know how she managed to stay upright with all that weight on her shoulders. Look at how lovely you look now.
Took me years to get that just right. To layer it in this, put things on the right way and curl it and set it. I'm fine. I'm fine. I'll be fine.
she's not fine. Just
Karrin and Kerrin, you hear voices coming from the hallway, and as you look down, you two are in clothing that would be befitting like a young priest or priestess, just a simple night robe that is like white cotton, no frills whatsoever, just straight to the floor. Like honestly, since it was probably made for a human, it actually like bunches up slightly around the two of your feet.
I think people overestimate our height a lot. Just because we're elves doesn't mean we're tall. We probably should go and see what's happening. Yeah, let's go. Let's go. Let's go. They are gonna crawl out of the bed, but they're not gonna like turn and come off of the like sides like people would do. They're gonna like come up under the covers to the end of the bed and then jump off.
As they would, yes.
I think that's the way they always got out of bed instead of because you can kind of semi make the bed when you do that because you can push the blankets behind you and it kind of ends up like flat. It was their way of getting out of making their bed.
I was today years old when I found out the viability of that, and I think my whole life has been a lie now, actually. Like, I have like several additional questions. You two, blessed with dark vision as you are, realize you're in a room that looks like a bedroom. Uh, it looks probably grandmotherly in its setup. There is a sticky sort of papering over the walls to make it look more pleasing over the wood panels of like flowers of some sort. And there are prayers, there are holy symbols of the god Tyr um, all over the room in like a small like prayer nook. You can see there is a window that has been like covered with like very heavy fabrics to make it dark in here.
Helene would like to cast light on something and just kind of feel around so that everybody can also see that. And also, Aki, you're muted.
Yeah, sorry.
You are muted.
The twins are they look at the curtains and they're like, huh. And then they open their doors and they kind of head to the room where they hear Aiden and Helene talking.
Yes.
But are there any other doors in between them and Helene and Aiden on the way?
There are, which leads us inside. Xander, you sort of flitter awake as you hear Rayonde breathing deeply, but he's tricked you enough times into thinking he was sleeping when he was just meditating, but so you're not quite sure. As you sort of come to, you find yourself in a similar state, except you notice that you have no shirt on, just shorts and no weapons, and one of your hands is very lightly tied to the banister of the bed. It's not chained, but it's like kind of a heavy rope.
Wait, what?
Mm-hmm.
I pull on it.
Yeah, it's tight. You think you were like with some time and probably some effort you could get out of it, but I mean it is not in inescapable bond, but it is also not like heavy chain.
Am I tied on all limbs or just
Nope,
this?
just one arm. One arm.
That was a little more exciting.
Gonna save something for the sequel.
I would like to calmly take that off and then also keep a guard since I don't know what's happening now.
When you kind of start picking at it, you hear a voice come from one of the corners. All right, mate, I realize you're just waking up and all, but we had to make sure you wasn't gonna be no trouble.
Right. Do I have a weapon near me at all?
Nope, you
No?
do not.
Cool. I'm attached to a bed.
You are.
What is this bed made out of?
Wood. It's a nice bed, but it's just a bed.
Is it mahogany?
It probably is like a nice like handcrafted like maple or something. Like it's a hardwood, giggity, but it's not like excessively expensive. It's just like a nice provincial bed. However, Xander, you also not having dark vision, really can't see that. Like, you're aware of the fact that you're in you can feel covers and a pillow and a bed frame, but I mean, it's black dark in here to you.
So would it be safe to assume that if I were to try to strongman this bond out, that I could probably not have the bed flip on top of me? Yeah, it's heavy enough, or have that.
Yeah.
Out for either one, really.
You just got to start yanking at it.
I would like to. I'm assuming the voice is that away to my right.
Yep.
Like, okay,
Yep.
cool. I'm glad I heard that right. I would like to pull this way, I guess away from the voice. So if it were to flip that way, then I have a nice like barricade, maybe. I don't know. Think future.
Give me an athletics check.
Yeah, I can do that. Would 24 do anything?
You yeet, boom, and you flip this bed over on yourself. And he's like, "Oh, right, I don't know how much of a problem that solved, but okay. Rayonde, even though you slept very peacefully through the rest of this, the crashing of the bed mere feet from you does cause you to awaken in your traditional honed sense of waking up without opening your eyes, having had these pranksters try 100 things on you over the years. You're used to it.
Rayonde, I don't want to maybe surprise you with this, but we are currently captured, and I think our capturer is in the corner. So if you could kindly wake up.
I can hear you, you know. I just
Side note, he can hear us. So
Am I bound in any way?
You are bound by one arm and one leg. Again, it's Lou. You can, you have some motion. So, like, if you slept or you turned over, you know what I mean? Like, you're not like half stretch, torture wrecked.
Oh wait,
but you are tied.
Are we close enough? Oh, I can't see anything, huh?
You can't see a thing.
like
Dragonborn do or don't have dark vision. Yeah, I don't think so. Yeah, neither you. And you hear again the voice is like, "Oh, all right. So just be cool, okay?" Out in the hallway, Aiden, Helene, Karrin, and Kerrin give me perception.
19.
19.
15.
15. 1 million from the young wizard.
I forget if I have a modifier on that or not, but I rolled a 12.
If you do, it's not a
No,
huge
I do
one.
not.
Okay. You all hear sort of a like muffled like boom, 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 boom in one of the rooms. Aiden, you hear Xander saying, Rayonde, we're being or like we're being captured. We're imprisoned. Rayonde, what do you do when you realize the state of things?
I quickly bite through the rope at my wrist with my incredibly sharp teeth. And then I roll under the bed, I guess, while my ankle is still attached.
Yeah.
I can still get under the bed, though.
You realize it is like a rough sort of hemp. You feel like it's probably something like meant to tie horses. And she's like, and he's like, right, you lies, you're all impetuous. I was just trying to make sure you weren't like mentally possessed or some such. And I gotta tell you, I'm not convinced.
Yeah, says the kidnapper. You're the one who tied us to beds and then took my shirt off, you weirdo.
Yeah, for someone who doesn't trust us, it's pretty untrustworthy behavior.
That is not at all how any of this works. Aiden, as you do you go to that door and open it when you hear that?
Yes, I would like to attempt. I want to see what's going on. This is gonna be hilarious.
As you flip open the door and light comes in, you see Xander under a very hastily constructed but tactical bedfort, and Rayonde shimmering under the bed with one long clawed foot still very much visible underneath it and stuck to this rope. And at the far side of the room, you see another familiar face of Astenor, the elf that you rescued, sitting up on his haunches like a desk or a chest of drawers at the edge of the room with a knife in his hand, just sort of like looking at the two of them like, what are they doing? Like, it's if I was like really trying to hurt them, I was like, I don't know that like hiding under the bed would like really help, but okay.
What is the meaning of this? Oh, I've always wanted to say
Okay, Aiden, come here to the tactical bedfort. Come.
Is everything all right in there?
Oh,
Yes, it's fine.
You should really come and see. I think this needs the whole group right
Have
now.
I untied my ankle at this point?
The twins are kind of like, you can see them both peeking their heads over Aiden's shoulders, like one on each side, just like.
Yeah, under the bed, you can't really reach it, Rayonde. You're sort of like kind of scrimping forward, trying to like get to it. Helene, do you come and look also?
I do. Was I able to find something to like cast light on so that we can like all see clearly? And
Yes, but when you like find something and like just reach into one of the rooms and hit it with light, as the light falls into the room that you were in, Helene, you see a very large, heavy cage on the floor that you were in. And in it is a large gray mass that is like slowly going up and down, like something very big is sleeping.
and it looks like it's in the cage.
Mhm.
I run over to it to see if it's Peter Parkour.
It absolutely is Peter Parkour. The gray render is laying there on the ground, except when you look at him, when you get close and you're kind of excited, um, he's still very clearly injured, greatly injured from the battle and the numerous beam blasts and bites it took from the beholder. Its eyes, like it's laying on the side and its mouth is kind of open with its tongue sort of lolled out, and its eyes are kind of like half open and glazed. You, again, you're no medic, Helene, but you've been in plenty of battles. He's not sleeping, he's unconscious, but he is breathing.
Do you need help, Helene?
Uh, yeah. Peter does not look like he's in good shape, but he's back, guys. I found. Well, I didn't really find him. He was here. But yes.
When Calliope, so she's sort of in the hallway, Helene, because you've kind of run back into your room and they're sort of in like the next room across the hall with Xander and Aiden. She just sort of holds her hands up. It's like, okay, could we all just talk for a moment? Maybe just get back on the same page. Have a nice cup of tea.
Oh no, I really need to continue watching my friend hide under a bed that he is tied to.
But
I would love to clear things up, but this is
it is
gold.
not ineffective subterfuge there though, Dragonborn. Like the flaw in your plan is I was looking at you, see, but otherwise that might have worked on someone else. The bed flip again.
I'm not trying to avoid detection. I just need a layer between me and you, an unknown quantity.
Oh well, real well played. No, in the bedfold is two very different approaches to similar problem solving. It's a right. And he does just like hop off the desk. Now that sort of light has flooded the room from the open door, you both see him as he kind of like walks past both of you, and he's like, "Right, good to see you alive, Aiden. I'll leave you all to whatever this is." And he walks out of the room.
Rayonde, I'm proud of us. We scared him out of the room.
Yeah. I mean, it was an elaborate strategy, but
Yeah, we pulled it off though.
Could you untie my foot?
Yeah. If
yeah.
you do me, I'll do you. So we could.
About that. Oh. And I
Hurry
just
up, man,
lean
I'm
down
quite
over the
worried,
bed. And I look and I just take your snout in my hands. You'll never live this down. And I'm gonna get.
I don't know what you're talking about. Nothing remarkable has happened here, and certainly nothing I should be ashamed of.
This is all very.
Well, I gotta do my morning exercises, so the rest of you can clear off. All right.
It's just like the bed starts going up, just repping out onto the bed.
I see Rayonde. I take part in it, and I.
Yeah. No, just like they just like lift. That's it. That's all this was.
Another day, another routine workout.
I think one twin is just standing there with Aiden, like, and while the other twin is helping out Helene and the Grey Render.
As you try and enter the room, Calliope in the hallway, she does sort of like hold her hand up so you can't get past her into the bedroom. And she's like, could we just not yet? I mean, the beast is not dead, clearly. But it is terrible when it is awake. Could we just all get caught up, maybe? You all could get dressed. Not that this isn't a lovely vision. And she turns and looks at Helene and her pink frilly thing, and she's like, "No, both of you, lovely. Either way, I'm enjoying both of these visions. But could we just not be too hasty?" Helene's like lightning bolt.
Yeah, the twins are looking to Helene for a cue because this is her animal. So
You are muted, Helene.
I was checking to see what I had and what I could do.
Yeah. Again, she doesn't like violently shove the twin when you come. She's just like, "Hey, could we just not for a second?" It's like what she's doing there in the hallway. You do have a clear shot at her should you take it, Helene. But she's very much like
I think when Karrin notices that Helene is starting to get a bit heated, they just kind of reach over and place their hand on her forearm. She has a point. And besides, if we wake him up in here, it'll just scare him. We should maybe wait until he's outside. He's not dead. He looks stable to me. He's probably going to be okay.
As long as you think he's stable and he'll last until we get somewhere where we can wake him up, then fine. But
I'll keep an eye on him, and if it looks like it's starting to get bad, then I'll do something. But for now, he's just sleeping. He's gonna be asleep for a while. You know, he fought really well. You should be very proud of him.
hey, I'm just excited to see him again.
Well, I'm sure he'll be excited to see you too. Outside where
yes, that's what I'm worried about actually, is his excitement at seeing you.
Oh, you hush. And Helene turns her into a fart.
You hit her with gaseous cloud. She super rolled a 1 on her save. So she took a bigger fart than you intended, even. She's like a double spiritual, like the human form and the Kalish stars possessing spirit.
Helene also tries to walk into the midst of the cloud to see if she can get some kind of like funk going that she can get the curl back in her hair with. Maybe take a nice whiff, see if that does it.
You do see she looks vaguely offended in her gaseous form, and she's like, "Ooh, provincials." And she's like, "Come, let us speak, not in here." And floats. You all, the rest of you, catch a whiff of just a horrific stench in the hallway. Sort of floating over is like methane laced with like arsenic sort of thing. Just like, yeah.
God, Aiden, did you cut the cheese right now? Did you do that?
Oh, nice try. We all know who's the most noxious cloud in the joint. Ain't me, friend.
No.
I think it was Helene.
Can I untie myself?
Oh yeah, no, but with Aiden's help and everyone else, it's
all right.
Yeah, you're all free.
Yeah, I got you, buddy.
So where the heck are we?
Calliope's house of rope and pleasure, I guess.
Oh, that is a lovely name. I should might think of rebranding. And come. I would clap, but my hands don't touch anymore. You hear that from down the hallway. As she did turn and like float down the hall.
Shall we?
We're all here, strange bondage notwithstanding.
Yeah.
We weren't tied up.
Yeah, I'm kind of offended.
Well,
Where are your knives?
yeah, where are our weapons actually?
Look,
Does anyone
they're
know?
professionals. They haven't worked with us extensively.
So
A certain amount of
so
mistrust on
then-
is to be expected in these circumstances. If we go downstairs, we'll probably get some answers.
Both Karrin and Kerrin, this is the first time that you've gotten just in, dare I say, Helene also. Although you're a little upset, this does still register in your mind as the shirtless grandeur of Xander, Aiden, and Rayonde in their alternatively muscular but scarred, lithe, without the slightest imperfection on his 8-pack shredded abs.
There is
And
no staring happening. No staring. We are firmly looking everywhere, but at people's very nice looking bodies.
aggressive eye contact, aggressive eye contact. In Rayonde's squat but stocky stature, with his broad shoulders that like tapers off into just like a column of a very dense torso, all just
2
sort of
tickets to
standing.
the Crossroads show, baby.
Also,
change.
this is the first time you, Xander, and Rayonde have gotten a very clear look at Helene's very frilly gown and very, very straight hair. Again, Xander, you literally cannot remember a time in your life before you knew her. You've been swimming 1,000 times and never have you seen this straight down sheen of hair on your friend.
I am embarrassed for them, but also turn the same color as Rayonde at the same time.
Don't say anything. She's only going to get more upset.
I'm
Just
gonna
pretend
stay.
pretend it's cool. Pretend it's not a big deal. In fact, pretend you didn't even notice.
Yeah, we should all wear
Do you
dresses.
know I can hear you two?
No, you, no.
Helene, right? I feel like you seem familiar to me somehow. Like you look like a friend of mine
Yeah,
I've seen before. But you're different somehow. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, there seems to be less of you. Is it a new? Did you do like a new workout or something? Maybe ate something yesterday.
Apparently, I was given a bath.
That can't be it. That can't be it. And I move forward. And
Real cool, guys. Keep going.
As you guys are moving through, Helene, it's like hard to walk. It's all weird. Like you're used to it being up here, but it's down here. You're just
And she starts kind of taking off different like pieces, like if she can kind of like rip bows off that are like uncomfortably placed, and she just kind of does like slip them on the backs of some of her friends, like in that old like friendly shoulder pat, and just like Rayonde's got like a random bow on one of his shoulders now. And, like,
I
good
think
to
that
meet everybody.
I think the twins at some point do accidentally look, and then it just falls apart from there.
Yep. No, it's you got it all of it. And the small clothes were a little small, so you're catching the like the full. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's it's better than Karrin and Kerrin thought, really.
I feel like a lot of this is catering to the elf gaze. It makes me uncomfortable.
I appreciate that you meant GAZE, and still I'm
It's
just it works.
GAYZE for sure.
It works either way. Yeah, just let
They
just want
both
me to know
work.
it.
They both
Just
work.
put it all together. Yep. And
It's true. Both Xander and Aiden work.
Aiden, give me your perception check, but give it to me with disadvantage. A lot is happening in this hallway right now as you're walking.
19.
But there is a strange familiarity about it, especially as you continue walking sort of towards the stairs. This is the sheriff's office that you first snuck into when you first entered into Crestholm. It took a second to sort of place the yellow wallpaper, and quite frankly, the building's much bigger than you thought because you kind of just came straight to the cells and went right back out. Um, you notice it is almost like it is equal parts jail and equal parts hotel. Like you notice, like the almost like a bed and breakfast with cells at the bottom, as each of the rooms all had like a very different aesthetic. And you all do smell what's that? Maybe coffee or some such being brewed downstairs.
This is part of the jail. I should be doing crimes here. Here is a good place for crimes.
This is very homey. It's included.
I think what Helene did to me should count as a crime.
It's a good look on you, just like you think this is a good look on me. See what happens when we push our feelings onto other people and our life choices.
As you all make your way down, you do see the floating gaseous form of Calliope in the living room. And you do see Astenor just sort of with like a kerchief sort of pressed against his nose and kind of not looking at her. And she says, well, that was a very rude reception for the ones who saved you after all of that commotion. But a deal is a deal, Aiden. You assisted us in our time of need, and so we assisted you.
Much appreciated, my colleagues.
Ah,
You can
wait,
dress them up, but you can't take them anywhere.
is that them? Yeah. Wait, no, let us out. Let us out of here. The master's gonna be so upset. So upset. You hear coming from a nearby room, which you, Aiden, know is where the cells are. The rest of you never set foot in this place, so you don't know why these muffled voices are coming from somewhere on this floor.
So you traded places, huh?
Astenor looks up and he's like, "I seem like, what is it like? Ironic, yeah."
Payback is lich.
Is yes.
Helene, do you mind making her a person again, please?
As you look over at Helene, she's very clearly like ripping the front of the dress in half so that it almost looks like pants, and she's like haphazardly tying the skirt into like leg holes, and she goes, "Oh, fine," and she turns her back.
You see, she recoalesces and she goes, yes, thank you. And Astenor's like, yeah, right. She wasn't ever gonna ask, like you could have kept her like that, like 10 minutes, an hour, like whatever it was gonna be. She wouldn't have done you like the benefit of like asking for your assistance. And she says, because you shouldn't have to ask. In fact, allow me to do something that is going to make all of you a bit more comfortable. And you see she holds her hands out and she turns them over. Right.
Are you taking more clothes off?
She's like, I could. And you do feel like something starts to tug just slightly. It's your shorts, Xander.
I hold them tightly.
And you see she turns open a hand and a closet door opens and she like pulls like this and you see two trunks come out and you hear them slide heavily across the floor like and just like stop in front of you.
You could have just opened the door for us, but yeah, that's what
You all, I know you have no flair for the dramatic. She has too much flair for the dramatic. It's like balance, children. Equilibrium.
So, I had a very expensive and rare Eastern sword. Where is it?
Yeah.
And you see, like, it comes floating out of that same closet and just lays down in front of you.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Oh, good. I missed you, baby.
If I could have my sword as well, I mean, great sword, that'd be fantastic.
She's like, oh, but you don't like the dramatic. You can go
Yeah, you
get it
just
out of the
point me
closet.
with-
Yeah,
Oh, I
roll.
have both, too.
That works for me too.
I think the
Mhm.
twins have opened up the trunks and started pulling out everybody's clothes and like
It's
sorting
all of
them
your
into piles and putting them in everybody's little. That's what they've started doing.
it is everything that you had. It has all been cleaned and pressed and folded nicely. You can
It
tell from
takes
touching
both
it.
of them to pull out Helene's coins.
Yeah, yeah, all of your things and accoutrement are in a bag. Helene, your coins and rocks and sticks and things are all just in a bag. They've also been washed, unfortunately, so your coins are all shiny. Even some of that like crust that really made the like Cholte's coin special. Nope, nope, just a coin now. Um, but you can tell
Helene
from the
tries
way you
to
touch.
she tries her best to like braid her hair into like what's left of it and kind of like tries to get the coin bag like mixed in there with the little ties and just kind of gives up after a minute and just and she just wanders off defeated.
You do know from when you're touching your stuff, these things they haven't been prestidigitated, which just miracles the dirt out of a thing. Like they've actually been like washed. Like you all smell vaguely of lavender now. And all of your items are all tended for. All of your weapons are there, even your coins. You can tell they've been separated into denomination, almost certainly counted. But all of your possessions are between these two trunks in the closet. All of your things are here.
I start counting just to make sure because you never.
That's true. Nope,
Did I
it's all
have
there.
34 arrows? Is that how many I had? I feel like I had 35. I'm just saying. Should I be mad?
Maybe
Astenor
you
just
missed
leans
more
forward
often.
and he's like, right, I think you just missed more than you thought, right? We'll pick us up doing the hard work. He's all like firing warning shots at a beholder.
What are you gonna do with them?
I haven't
So
smelled this good in a long time. It's nice.
Oh, no, it's not the time for like warm, comfy laundry. The master will be so angry. You will bring the wrath of the master down us all.
Who is this very annoying person?
Yeah, I can't take this anymore.
the one we met at first. Just FYI,
Oh,
that's
the
where the
sheriff?
jail cells are in this building.
Let's
This
go
is
say
the
hi.
sheriff's office.
I walk over.
Aiden, let's go say hi.
There was an old man and an old woman that were the speakers before. Um, and you do see they are in there. They, however, have not been cleaned and have not been washed. You do see the old man and the woman both in two different cells in there. You see
So,
he is standing by the bars, sort of frantic and like yelling. She is sitting on the edge of the cot in her cell, just sort of with her fingers in her lace, just sort of like looking down, more like she's thinking than praying, but just sort of like there. And he's like, "Oh, ooh, the wrath of the master! Oh, the wrath of the master!"
Okay. Anyone want to explain what the Wrath of the Master is?
these people serve someone called the Master. We gathered earlier when we first arrived in Crestholm. Why don't you call the Master? Just tell him to come on down and we'll talk this out.
Oh, I dare
Say some
not. No, I do not call upon the master. The master calls upon us. And if we do not pay tribute for too long, when he realizes you've destroyed his servants, the master will be greatly upset with us.
Well then,
oh dear.
don't worry about it. That's in the past, and you're in the present now. So like, there's no point in really talking about the Master's wrath. If you know what's going to happen, then just like be at peace with it and just be okay.
Now, I like what you're doing there, Xander. This whole like inner peace thing. Very, very cool. Very cool. I'm on the level with that.
I learned from you.
However, they are bringing up something which is fundamentally, mechanically important to us, which is that we were supposed to save this town, right? But it's still not saved. Like, there's still this bloke out there somewhere who's gonna destroy the town, I guess, if we don't go deal with him.
Oh,
So where is this master? We'll go pay a call on him. We'll save you the time.
When you say out loud, Xander, that you're like, it doesn't matter, whatever's gonna happen, let the wrath come. Calliope's just like, how have you all lived so long? This is delightful. All of you give me perception checks.
How do you like a
Okay.
natural 20?
Well, that pretty much covers it there. While they're talking, is Karrin has sort of turned their head, simultaneously relieved and disappointed at the fact that everyone is clothed now, but they very much are going to be doing some very detailed sketches of Xander later. Just sort of idly lets their eyes move over towards the cell, and both cells have windows with bars that open outwards. And there is a very thick spider's web over one of the nearby trees. Very thick. Unusually thick for this part of the world, really.
Do you see that thick spider thing over there? I rolled a 22, so I'm seeing thick things as well.
I rolled a 19. Do I also see it?
But they got a natural 20, so they see it more than you see it. But yes, after
Everybody rolled
you-
really well. Everybody could have seen.
that is true.
No,
Uh,
You can speak most qualitatively to the thickness. Like how thick she be.
It's true.
I got the double C thick, and you guys got the CK.
Oh god.
It's true.
Exactly.
It's true. Yeah, all very valid.
I did not
You
see
all,
it. Please point it out to me.
you've successfully rolled to disbelieve there. Yes.
Karrin just takes Rayonde by the face and just kind of goes,
Look at the thickness.
Oh, that's thicker than normal. Not that it's a problem, but you know.
Calliope, was that your name? How long has
Yes.
that web been there?
Do I look like some sort of gardener, dear? No. See, I'm more of a brigand, a lady in wait. You see, I do more indoors things. I don't know how long a tree has been outside.
No, the web, the web, the webbing. When did the webbing start?
Thick. Well,
Hold on a
Helene just
second.
walks over to it and tries to march over to it.
You would have to leave out of the building and then head over that way, but do you want to? More importantly, are you going to put on your regular clothes, or are you going to keep rocking your now thoroughly edited pink frilly gown?
She has successfully put on her clothes and done a couple of mud angels on the ground of wherever they're at, trying to get
Get
just
a little
that
scum going.
natural scum going back again.
Yeah. If only there was some form of reverse prestidigitation. You know, you're like dirty. Yeah.
I mean, it's called outside.
That is true. It's called life. Adventuring is reverse prestidigitation. As in both Calliope and Astronaut rolled terribly, they really haven't noticed. They were like, tree spider webs, like we were robbing people and then got caught, and now we're here. Is you all are about to head towards the door. Calliope says, excuse me. I just need to tell you one important thing. I believe you all have overlooked. You're just always on the go. Like that worked well for saving us, but I'd like you to stay alive. You all have been sleeping for 2 days, okay? You destroyed the bone claw and the beholder. Yay, huzzah. That was terrible. I felt its eye beam that canceled all the magic was particularly terrible, but you all slew the beast and just collapsed, just dead away. And those two wanted to string you up as offerings to the master, but Astonor and I made sure that you all stayed safe, made sure that they were put in jail. The other people have gone back to their homes and have stopped paying tributes to the master, and we just wanted to keep an eye on you and make sure you were well. Yes, we had to bind the hands of some of the more headstrong members of your group, but we didn't know how long it's been. And now you've been sleeping for 2 days. It is almost sunset again. And when she says that, as you're sort of looking, yeah, it was completely blacked out in your rooms, but it is, broad daylight. It gives the first you were like, oh, the sun's coming up. Oh no, that's the sun going down.
Wait, you said we were asleep for 2 days, and
Yes.
we didn't disappear after we beat the bone clock. We were
No.
like on the ground the whole time.
Yes.
It was all a dream.
What? So then,
I used to read Word Up magazine. I could be a bard. You see, I do fancy my way around a mandolin, but nobody ever asked about old Aston. All just want me to do the stabbing. Sorry, please continue. Yes.
wait,
We
you
would-
guys remember like the heaven and the
All
underdark
of it.
things, right?
100%.
No, I was actually asking.
Oh, right.
You guys.
I remember.
Well, yeah, I mean, it really happened. I think we really went there, but it's like astral projection or something where like our bodies stayed here while
Okay, that's okay.
it's a theory. It's a theory. I'm sure the twins can give you a more educated.
Can we
idea.
give you a more educated guess?
Yeah, absolutely. You could roll, I don't know, either Arcana, even Insight. I will say you do all feel. Oh, yes, Karrin and Kerrin.
If it's an Arcana, then it's a 16.
Mhm.
If it's an insight, however, it is a 19.
We'll take the insight. You do all feel great except for Helene. You feel terrible, but I mean, but like on the inside in your body, you feel great. Some of those like kind of knots and nagging injuries and things that you guys have just kind of gotten used to are all gone. I mean, you do feel like you've had a capital L, capital R long rest. Your belly feels full, and you, for the first time and as long as you can remember, you don't feel existentially exhausted. So it is like the yes.
Kerrin runs out of the room and back to the chests really fast.
Mm-hmm.
And they start looking for mushrooms.
The mushrooms are not there.
I ran out of mine anyway in the last.
Kerrin runs back in. Well, we definitely didn't go anywhere, at least not physically. There are no mushrooms.
No one thinks this is weird, right?
No. The mushrooms were great though. I tasted blue. The color blue.
Yeah, but why?
Now I kind of regret not trying the mushrooms because it wouldn't be really doing mushrooms. It would just be dream mushrooms, so there would be no consequences. So now I feel I missed out.
No, you gotta live your life with the consequences. You have to taste of the mushrooms of life, or you will never know the color blue, my friend.
Wise
Aiden.
words, my friend. Wise words.
Aiden, you, as you're like, otherwise you'll never hear the color blue. You hear in your ear, oh yeah, it all happened, Aiden. All of it. And in the palm of your hand, Aiden, you didn't really realize while you were putting things on, you maybe grabbed it and just didn't even think too much about it. There's an arrowhead, one of the wood elf arrowheads.
It happened. It really happened.
Okay, so if it really happened, then why did it happen? And why were we passed out here for 2 days sleeping?
Which, thank you, by the way, if no one has actually said it, let it just be said. Thank you for cleaning our butts up.
No.
Thank you. Thank
No,
you.
No,
Thank
thank
you
you.
for saving us. Not thank you for cleaning us. I did not want that. However, I think maybe we died, guys. Maybe that fight was a little too close. We've had close fights before though, and I don't remember
Now,
flying
Helene,
pictures
you and
having-
I have both been killed before, and you know it wasn't like that.
That is true.
true.
You have tasted death, Helene. It was objectively different.
Yeah.
That is true.
I mean,
I
maybe
don't know,
we've
that
got
is
some
odd.
sort of guardian angel who's preserved us in some way.
All right.
Estenor is like, guardian angels don't exist. And Calliope is like, oh, they just function much differently than you think they do. But it's, yes, that is, shall we say, the long and short of it. It's glorious victory, and then fainted dead away. And at first we thought, oh, the beholder had done something to them. They've been poisoned because it was paralyzing you and being struck low. And we thought it was that. And many of the villagers thought it was the what do you call it, old man? The wrath of the master. Yes, they thought it was that, but I knew you were just sleeping and would come to eventually. So look, there is no wrath, old man. Don't make me harm you. Um, hmm. And that pretty much brings us to the present moment. Oh, would you like tea before you go running off hither and yon after your spider tree or battle or whatever? I made tea and I made coffee. Right.
It just means something if 2 days after we finally got rid of whoever it is that's attacked us, there are now spider webs? That's strange. But yes, we'd love tea.
I mean, I was assuming that the master was the beholder, but apparently there's someone else. So
Yes. No, it was very vocal about that while it was all those things it was saying. It was terrible, really. I didn't like looking at it. It was very ugly. Your beast, however, fought very bravely. Helene, at one point, we thought about healing it, but it took the leg off the veterinarian, and a decision was sort of made to kind of let it lie. Astenor takes a step forward. He's like, they want to put the beast out of his misery, but I felt like it didn't deserve that. Yeah, it just,
That's probably a wise choice, because had you, I would have been forced to put all of you out of your misery. So this was good decision making on your part, and I'm very proud of you.
Right. Well, I just want to treat it how I'd want to be treated, like none of that merciful death business. No, let me cling to life as desperately for as long as possible. That's what I say. Yeah, yeah. That's why we thought like you lot would come back too. It's the same thing. And yeah, and you're back. So I don't know. Did you ever like a fairy tale vision you all went on? Did you see that gray beastie along with you?
No. I was blessedly free of its hateful gaze.
Did you just say you were going to put us out of our misery as well?
No. But remember, like the townspeople were like, "Oh, this is the wrath of the master, string them up," type thing. Yeah, they want to. We were like, "No."
Again, very thankful. Didn't let us get killed in our sleep.
But
right, crew?
And
yeah.
us to a bed.
Right. Well, there had to be. We was just making sure you wasn't injured, and by then you was naked, and it didn't seem right to put back like some of those crunchy small clothes back on you. So yeah, we just made sure that you'd been properly tended to. That's all.
Well, I appreciate the tending, not so much the staring at me in the dark, naked thing.
So, back on topic, is the master a giant spider?
We ain't never seen the master. Oh, I realize you all, we never really got to make each other's proper acquaintance. This is Calliope, our master Noel. We're all mates at Aiden, which is practically blood brothers now. We'd come down from Waterdeep when there was a situation where there was sort of like zombies and like squid people in the streets, So we'd headed out this way, sort of set up camp in this lovely town. They sort of prayed for salvation, and this master answered them in the form of some hideous bone-clawed creature and a bleeding beholder, and they wanted to keep the two of us. We never were quite sure why when they skewered all of our mates.
Huh.
I mean, I thought the beholder was the boss of the bone claw. Are you saying both of them are working for someone else?
Well, that's what I seem to take from it. Yes, that did seem to be what the beast was saying. It wouldn't shut up. I realized, oh, you were occupied in glorious battle with that zombie creature. And she does take a step forward and kind of put two hands kind of on your shoulders. And she's like, that must have been a glorious battle. I would love to hear more about it.
I mean,
Uh,
I guess, yeah, sure. I mean, not particularly glorious. There are a few things I think I could have improved upon, but yeah, anyway. So let's go find this master and kill him. He's obviously been far too much trouble for this town.
Kerrin and Karrin go over to where the woman is sitting on the bed really quickly,
Mm-hmm.
like just over to her cell, and
Mm-hmm.
just kind of look at her for a moment, just like, were you saving Calliope and Astenor for future tribute?
Make a persuasion roll.
It's a 17.
She doesn't look up from you, but she's like, those two were special. The others were just common sellswords. I don't know why they were special. The Bone Claw was quite insistent that they be held until they could be transported to the master. And she doesn't look up. She's still just sort of like sitting there with her hands clasped, looking down.
Thank you for being so candid with us. And then they kind of step back to the rest of the group.
Helene, you have made your way outside Slight Mud Angels, approaching this tree, and it is covered. Oh, yes.
After hearing all of that, because they did stop us before we could get out the door,
Oh,
Helene would actually like to head back down to where Peter Parkour was and try and get him out of the cage and like use fly like she did on the hunt and get his body outside if she can.
It's fairly slow going, you know. He kind of bumps the walls and things, you know, and as you love it, like again, his tongue sort of like lolls out of his mouth, and like the eyes are kind of like looking at nothing in particular, like kind of half closed, half open. As you do fly him out, and as you come outside, you do notice there are a handful of people. You all might remember Crestholm was sort of like long and skinny. There was kind of like the road sort of went through town, and there was kind of like these nice provincial houses along the edge. So it's to one direction was Waterdeep in the woods, and the other direction is wilderness, you know, to who knows where. And it's just sort of sprung up along the way, basically. And as you come out, you do smell baking bread and things as people are preparing their meals as the sun is going down. And it seems like, you know, some life and industry has returned. The town is still kind of quiet and subdued. They've been through a lot kind of in the last couple of weeks. But, you know, life is started happening. And as the gray render comes floating out, you do notice people do sort of like stop what they're doing and kind of gather and move back, because while they're afraid, you know, the stories of the fact that this beast helped kill the beholder have spread through the town, but it also kind of almost murdered the vet. So people are like, as, you bring him outside.
Leve, what's the plan with this? Where are we going? What are we doing?
Well, I mean, he has done a fairly good job of like, you know, last time we told him, you know, stay outside, and you know, he did. That worked at least to a degree. So I'm gonna see if we can take him out by some trees. You know, he likes those a lot, knocking them down, shooting on them, and waking him up out there.
All right. I mean, doesn't make sense to me, but obviously the two of you have a bond, and you know what's best for him, I guess. But he seems really like unconscious. Like, look, he's drooling as well. Oh, that's put the tongue back in there, Peter. Jeez.
Helene takes a little bit of the tongue goop and tries to kind of.
Now that works. It's like the world's best like holding formula, like full something about Mary like stays exactly where you leave it.
That's about 80% of what it was before. With just that, that's incredible. You found yet another use for Peter.
Yeah, I just will. Also, if if there's something even bigger than what we just fought, and then we fight that and then wind up unconscious and then in another plane, perhaps it's best if we have all the help we can get right now. So I just want to wake him up, let him get his bearings, and chew on a couple of tree branches.
Yeah, I mean, maybe the fresh air will help.
And we can also follow the track of these webs at the same time.
Exactly.
So, two important questions, because these are slightly different questions. I'm going to give you some information about the web still covered under the blanket of your previous natural 20, not a 20. That's when you roll with advantage, you get 2 20s. That's a 20. Are you going to actually give me either an arcana or a medicine check from the twins?
That's a 24.
You realize he's been stabilized. Maybe somebody, you spare the dying on him. Maybe the vet was able to work with him a little bit before before the attack. He won't die, but it will be some time before he heals naturally. Like unless there's some sort of magical intervention, like he's out of commission for a while.
I think once we get him a little bit further from the village, we can definitely bring him back up to speed. But not here. We should definitely just keep him like this until we're a decent distance away. But he's going to be okay. Somebody did some work, and they did really good work too.
In the meantime, I will try to make him less terrifying. And I slide the frilly pink dress that was on me on him, and I take one of the little bows and kind of position it around.
I feel like it's like over his neck and just like kind of over two of his forearms. He's about the size of a grizzly bear. He's like 1,200 pounds.
It's like a frilly collar.
It's like a frilly collar. Yeah, but like put some like little bows kind of on those like bony protrusions around his head there, Yeah, no, he's 8, maybe 12% less awful when you're done with this.
You're really bringing out his eyes. All 8 of them?
I thought so too.
Karrin and Kerrin, as Helene is floating Peter out, and you're seeing all this, and you kind of getting a better look at the tree outside. Like I said, I'll still kind of give it to you in the umbrella of your previous natural 20. It is covered in spiders. Like at first, you're like, oh, it's like like there's those caterpillars that like will take over a tree for a little while, like that happens. No, this is almost like it is like a cotton candy of spider webs over this tree. And you do see inside every once in a while like a pulsation of like something very big in there, about the size of a person, sort of like.
Thanks, I hate it. Everyone,
Nope.
there's something moving in there.
Can we just light it on fire?
No, it might be a victim or something. It might be a cocooned hostage. Can't
Yeah,
burn the whole thing
I
down.
think the risk is a little bit too high.
It's the size of a person. We're not going to burn it without figuring out what it is, Xander.
I know, we're adventurers. We're brave adventurers. We don't just burn
I'm
things
saying,
and move
if
on.
this thing comes to
Have
like.
you met Helene?
Karrin just kind of slips their hand into Xander's. It's going to be okay.
I'm going to climb up this tree and
I get on.
investigate this pulsating humanoid shape.
Are you?
Yeah.
As you get closer to it, you right before you touch it, you can do this. You see it is just swarming with these things. And if you climb it, you can try and climb it. But if you climb it, you are going to get some spiders on you to an unknown effect. Although I will give you an but even if you take the time to get like closer to it, I will give you an investigation without necessarily touching it, and then you will have a choice to see whether or not you want to climb it.
Yeah, I think I want to do it pre-climby, pre-touchy looky.
Helene just readies a fireball.
I mean,
Just to be safe.
I feel like that's Helene's morning preparation. That you're like, get up, check my fresh dew, prepare a fireball, right?
I got a 15 on my investigation check.
There is something on these webs, like a liquid of some sort that you can't quite identify. But they don't seem just like normal webs.
All right, I think I'm going to need a bit more of an expert opinion. Karrin, is this a magical web of some sort? It looks really sticky.
It's the wrath of the master. You see, he's at the window. It's like taller than him. The wrath of the master.
Oh, that's about enough of you. Another peep out of you, and I'm coming back in there, and I'm going to give you a firm tutting.
You hear, I just say, you hear from inside, oh, yeah, sorry, we'll just close him in. And the shutters outside the building kind of go boom, right there in front of him.
I was gonna try to put I was gonna put mud all over it. Never mind.
Helene will walk over and investigate.
Yeah.
All of you can either give me Arcana or Investigation.
I already rolled for investigation. I got a 1.
No, this
Natural
isn't even a
20.
thing. We'll come back to the natural 20. Xander, no, you're like, okay, hold on a second. You got fizzy water in Arborea, and like you just hit it a little too hard, and like that's what all this is. Like it was like a weird mix of like mushrooms and fizzy water, and like any minute you're just gonna like kick out of it. Like this is all gonna like be.
I'm gonna wake up from this dream. So.
Nope, you're just like a little Oliphant is gonna come floating down, and you guys are just gonna have a party, and it's gonna be all good. You know, you're like, no, this is fine. Helene, as Xander comes to a woefully erroneous conclusion, um, as you are looking, I will say, with our most powerful mystical beings here, both having rolled natural 20s, I will say between the two of you, kind of putting your three heads together, you all realize a few different things about this tree.
I'm very excited. This is my first natural 20 in like 5 games, so I'm very happy right now.
I'm like, it's time for exposition. You realize a couple of things. First and foremost, those webs are poisonous. The webs are poisonous. Not just the spiders are poisonous. There's poison on the webs. If you were to touch them, you know, it is like being bitten. Just the act of putting your hand on the webs. Also, is between your magical textbook knowledge in the twins' mystical clerical knowledge, you all know these webs, especially as you're sort of like looking at the tree and the webs come all the way down to the tree, and then the webs kind of go all the way down into the ground, and you realize these webs have come up and took over this tree, and they're resonating very powerfully with divination of some sort. If you had to wager a guess, this tree's like a listening post of some sort.
I think we're being spied on, guys. There's some kind of like divination thing going, but it's coming from inside the ground. Maybe we should get underneath, and maybe I should set this on fire.
So what he's saying is we're being spied on. right.
New plan. I'm gonna set him on fire.
I'm just saying what everybody else is thinking.
Don't you dare. No, that was beautiful work, and I appreciate you. You are a gentleman and a scholar.
When you say that, you see two glowing purple knives appear in his hands, and he just starts juggling them, and he's like, "Ah, full scale entertainment, yuck, 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 yuck."
They're
We could
magical, and you
also
can never have them taken away when you're just in your small clothes and you wake up in the middle of a sheriff's building.
Yeah, I gotta tell you, that only had to happen to me like 2, maybe like 3 times before I had to learn this particular trick here. Um, yes, Karrin and Kerrin.
we could dispel the magic.
I mean, but can we still follow it back to its source after you've done that?
Well, the thing is, if we set it on fire, that would probably destroy the magical effect. If we dispel the magic, that will destroy the magical effect. So maybe we don't do anything into the tree until we figured out exactly what it is that it's doing.
So we
I
leave the
will
spider here.
again,
That's
I will put under the umbrella of your natural 20s that were you to find a way to destroy it, you think you could probably still follow its trail as such. You haven't necessarily figured out where it's led yet, but destroying it will not necessarily be like total dead end. Like, oh, now we don't know anything. You guys have a pretty good sense of this now between the 3 of you.
As the twins say that, Helene just casts that ready fireball right at it and burns it.
Or
You're like,
we could
you're like,
do that.
yeah. You're like, cool, cool, cool. Hold on a second. Let me we will resolve that fireball in just a second, but I would like Aiden give me a either perception or insight. I'm pretty sure your perception's higher, but you never know. You're a sharp lad.
I appreciate you. 26. Perception.
For which thing? Perception?
Yeah.
As you're sort of tumbling this around in your mind, you hear Harut again whisper in your ear. He's like, have you figured out why those 2 got to live?
They were special somehow. I mean,
Right. Go on.
well, Calliope's a Kalashtar, and Aspinall
Yeah,
has the most beautiful knives in the world.
he does. Yeah, that old college star thing's a little clumsy. I like our working relationship a lot better if you ask me. But yeah, she's psychic. He's psychic. The others weren't.
So what do you need a psychic for?
He doesn't answer again.
What do you need a psychic for?
Boom! Flames. And you hear,
Aiden, in answer to your question, maybe psychics taste better if you're a mind-controlling monster.
do roll your damage, Helene, because it actually is relevant how hard you hit it. I appreciate you're like, in that moment when the light bulb goes off, it isn't a light bulb, but a fireball.
I mean, my ideas are just this powerful.
That's, you're not wrong.
Get on my level.
I want to start putting tinder underneath the flames, just kind of fanning them, maybe.
I don't know if that counts as swiping left or swiping right, but I'm for it. Yes, either way, I'm for it. I would just like the record to show, just as an aside, that has no bearing whatsoever on what's about to happen here. A fiendish giant spider is a CR 1/2 creature, and I feel like that's a big name for such a tiny thing.
51.
Such a little thing. Such a small thing.
Yeah, but it's small, but it's angry.
51.
51. All right, give me just 1 second here. 1 second.
This is always the scary part.
I don't know what you're talking about. This is the best part. This is like when the game is loading and like the fight music is started, but it hasn't come in yet.
This is where you find the mana potions and the health potions and the ammo, and you're like, hold on. something
Yeah.
about to happen.
Yeah.
That's
And
right.
you're like,
I better save.
yeah, I'm gonna stop back in the inn and sleep for 2 days. Then I'm gonna go investigate. You, Helene, while they're like, well, maybe we should do this, that we got some options. Maybe we should like try and dispel it. And you're like, or, hear me out. And the flames very quickly erupt over the tree, taking it up in smoke. It also, the webs start to like sizzle and fray around it, and they give off a very like stinging, acrid smell that you realize you probably shouldn't inhale too deeply as it's sort of rolling off of this. And the tiny spiders go up in flames very quickly, and you see even like falling out of it like bigger ones, some that are getting to like the size of your hand. And as it continues burning away up in the tree, you see one that is about the size of a person, and it is covered in an impossible number of eyes, not just dozens, maybe hundreds, all over its body, all over its thorax, all over everything. And as it all peels back, it just sort of like looks at you with all of its eyes and goes like and pounces out of the tree. Roll initiative. Yeah.
18 for Aiden.
All right, hold on. Let me do this a different way because it so happens I has all of your names here, like we do this a lot or something. 18 for Aiden. Okay, what was it for Xander?
Solid 2.
No, you're again. You're still like, I don't know why everybody's panicking. Like this is not even happening.
Just at the base, just fanning the flames.
Yeah, this is still the sparkle juice from Arborea. Clearly,
It's still a dream.
Yeah, it just didn't mix right with the mushrooms, man. Like this is like it's hidden wrong. Helene.
29.
Hey, you were ready for this, Helene. Aiden.
That was my 18.
18, and Karrin and Kerrin.
23.
23.
Sorry, 20, not 23. 21. I can count. 21.
And mathing is hard. I appreciate everybody's like, no, but no to the spiders though. Yeah, like we talked
I don't
about
like
it.
Spooters. Spooters and I are not friends.
I mean, have you tried just like talking to them? Like maybe they're friends.
I like one Spooter, and their name is Lucas, and they live on YouTube.
Helene, you are first. You see the flaming wreckage of what you've done here. What was it?
Rayonde?
Wait. Yeah, what was it for Rayonde? Sorry, it was 18, right?
17.
Oh, sorry. You know what? I had you down for 18 from the last thing. Sorry. Very consistent.
I mean, we can go with that if you
Dragonborn.
want.
Yeah, you're very consistent. Helene, as you detonate this thing and see the, quite frankly, supreme satisfaction of having killed thousands of spiders in a single blow, you do see this horrifying thing pouncing out of the tree towards you. What would you like? Actually, since it pounced, beforehand, give me a deck save, Helene. Well, yeah, deck save. Kind of upperish left. Yep. You are muted, ma'am. Oh,
I couldn't figure out how I was clicking it and it wasn't going. 16.
Yeah, you were both hardware and software muted. It rolled very poorly. It's clearly burned and damaged from what you did to it, but it does pounce out of the tree and you sort of scramble out of the way as it lands. And again, you see all of the eyes on it are just looking in every direction as it like rearranges and looks at you ready to attack. And it is your turn.
I just go, and I hit it with a lightning bolt.
Okay, what's it save against that?
I will tell you momentarily.
It so happens I have your sheet here. I has it. It does not make the save, so you can go straight to the damages.
Nice.
You do realize, even though this thing is burned, it still looks like relatively hale, though. Like you feel like probably the tree and the webbing and everything took most of the damage. Like you've harmed it, but it is by no means on the brink of death. Yet, at least. After Helene is gonna be the twins, by the way, so you can be readying yourself. Lightning bolt does all the damage.
2.
22?
Life.
Wait, 22 or 42? Oh, okay. I was like, wait a second, that's a different meaning. You bam, like right in its face, and you see like you clearly have burned several of the eyes on it. And when you do, it just sort of like vibrates for a second, and webbing shoots out in all directions. All of you make wisdom saves.
Why does it have to be wisdom saves?
It's almost like some sort of monster comes after the things that are your points of vulnerability.
19.
Also, I
16 again.
am a garbage person, and I had loaded up a picture of exactly what Calliope looks like that I was going to send into our chat. So there you go. I was supposed to send that at a dramatic moment when she appears. I, being me, literally queued it up like 2 hours ago and just noticed I'd never actually sent it. So there you go. That's what she looks like. You guys can see her now. Sorry. So I'm like, there's a happy thing before a not happy thing. 16 for Helene. Xander.
I got a 2.
All right. Aiden, what'd you say? It was 19? Was that sorry? What was
I hadn't said yet. It was a 3, but you know what? Aiden was feeling a little bit lucky,
a little
and
lucky?
so now it's an 18, which is really
Hey.
how you hope the luck will go.
Honestly, I'm going to go ahead and tell you that's perfect because 17 was the number you needed. So that is exactly how you hope the luck would go. Rayonde.
Got an 11, boss.
Karrin and Kerrin.
19.
Aiden, Karrin, and Kerrin are sort of able to slide out of the way. Xander, Rayonde, and Helene, these webs hit you, but it's more than just the physical webbing on you. It's like hallucinogenic, and you are slowed. You cannot use reactions. Your speed is halved, and you can't make more than one or attack on your turn. You can do a bonus action or an action, but not both. Now it is Karrin and Kerrin's turn. Having seen your friends basically take this like, and they do sort of like visibly like slow down a little bit. I'm going to put that also in our chat as well, which is why I really pulled it up to be able to explain to you what happens should you fail your save. But yes, it is the twins' turn.
I think for now we are going to concentrate on killing this thing. And so we are going to do a nice guiding bolt up the butt at second level, because this is the only place a guiding bolt should go.
I mean, that's science. Everyone knows that's true.
It's a valid point of
and
entry.
That's going to be a 21.
Guiding bolt needs a 2 hit, not a save, correct?
Correct. It is an
Then
attack.
yes, that is enough to hit it.
That's going to be 16.
All right.
And now everybody has advantage on their attack rolls against it.
All right. When you hit it, you hear it makes an odd noise like and turns and looks at you. It is your turn, Aiden.
The next attacker has advantage, you say?
All
I'm
true.
a happy rogue now. 18 plus I think it's 8. So 26 to hit.
That's a miss. No, that is enough to hit it. Yes.
Okay. Cool.
You're like, and we're running. We're running.
And we
Yeah.
are fleeing. How's Chult this time of year?
Garbage, like every
26
other time of
doesn't
year in
hit.
Shulk.
Bye.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So long, farewell, auf Wiedersehen.
Yep. You're like, switch
Uh,
to diplomacy. Hmm.
That's 32 on a short bow. Because I could get into range of this spider, but consider going nowhere near it
Hmm.
and shooting with a bow. So I do that right into the point of light that had just been lit right up, and as it whirls around, I'm going to use my cunning action to then hide.
Yep. You're like, and into the smoke, but near the smoke. Yeah, right. It does like visibly shudder, and like a number of the eyes just sort of kind of go milky and hazy. Like it is badly beat. Rayonde, it is your turn, but you are slowed.
How
At the
far?
end of your turn, you will get to make another save.
Okay, how far away am I from it?
You're close. I mean, it like she fireballed it and it jumped out of the tree. Like you all were kind of around.
Okay. I think I'm gonna move towards it, just running straight at it. And
Mhm.
then once I get within 15 feet of it, it's gonna get a breath weapon attack.
All right, go for it.
So it's a save, dex save DC 14.
I have not rolled above a 10 once with this thing, so it sort of takes it just straight on. Yep.
All right, so that's 13 points of fire damage.
You all see him do a thing that he doesn't often do and just step forward and yep. And it is badly burned. Like, I mean, it is clearly injured. Anything else? I think that's it because you can only act or bonus act. Okay.
Yeah, that's it for me.
Helene, make an athletics check. You all see it pounces on Helene, just like tackles you and bites into your hair and starts dragging you as it starts running towards the forest, like dragging you along after it. And three of you are like, oh no. Xander, it is your turn. You do feel yourself in just like a kaleidoscopic haze, but you see this thing running away with your friend.
Is there a way that I can use action search? Or is that also, would that just be giving away? It would be like wasting it to do in just one?
Probably. Is action surge a bonus action or is it just a thing? I know Paladin Smite is just a thing that happens. Like, is action surge, does it take
Gives
an
an
action or a
additional
bonus
action, but not an additional bonus action.
Yeah,
So
it
it's,
says it does
I believe so. I think it's exactly what you want, right?
special.
Well, that's the thing, though, is you only get one attack, right? If
Right. So you would
if
get two,
action
basically.
surge, you would get two
Oh, yeah.
attacks. As
Right. Because
opposed
you
to
are still
yeah.
slowed. Yeah. You would just be like double slowed or half slowed, I guess is how that would work out.
You would be slowed, but twice.
Mhm.
Squared.
I just imagine you're like, fuck.
How far away am I from this creature?
Again, you all were kind of nearby because you were just talking amongst yourselves of how to proceed, and Helene was like, "Or boom," and then hijinks ensued.
So I could probably stab it. I could punch it with my sword.
It's run away from you, and you're at half movement. You would need to shoot it with your bow because it's actively trying to drag Helene off into the woods now.
All right, fine. We'll do it your way.
We'll do it live.
Let's
Sorry, Rayonde, do give me another wisdom save because at the end of your turn you have a chance to break it.
I got a 19 on that one.
You do snap out of it. I don't know if it's the jolt of adrenaline of seeing what's happening to Helene, but it's like literally the cobwebs clear. Yes. But yes, Xander, it is your turn. Sorry.
I got 26 and then 19. And then I don't know if those hit. Do those hit? I'm assuming the 26 might.
Are you going to action surge? Because you only get to shoot once otherwise.
Yeah, the action surge. I would love to do that. I would like to slow-mo rage.
Mm-hmm. Both of those are enough to hit.
Cool.
And you're like, and as it's crawling, you, Helene, one of the eyes right next to you looks up, looks at you, and is a different color. Is like a menacing, like auburn. And it just says, I'll see you soon, child. I'll see you, and I will show you. It just drops dead with one of Xander's arrows sticking out of the side of it.
I got it.
I stand up, hopefully covered in spider guts, and just kind of wave and go, thanks. Apparently it had plans on seeing us again soon. I don't think that's the case now. Good job.
Well, let's find out where it was going to drag you. I mean, that's where. But we'll get there on our own terms. Not
Yeah.
as spider chum.
When
Exactly.
we want to.
Helene and Xander, both of you roll 3 more wisdom saves, because technically you get to save at the end of every turn, but there's no guarantee. It very on brand for Xander to
Can I cast guidance on both of them so that they have advantage on their saves?
Guidance is just an extra D4.
Sorry, that's what I meant.
But yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, you can, as they very much are both like.
Yeah, I got 6, 1, and a 4. So I think I'm just slowed for life.
I got 17, 6, and 17.
17 was what you needed, Helene. So as you sort of like pull yourself away from this thing and kind of like, Xander, again, it's the sparkle water, man. Like that's the only thing that makes sense. Like as the rest of you are all like motivated, Xander's like.
Will Greater Restoration dispel this from him?
I think you need dispel magic because he's essentially under the effect of the slow spell. It's not a spell, although slowed. Well, hold on, slowed is a condition. Let me just do.
I mean, hear me out. He could experience the consequences of his own act. Like, I don't know.
Actually, I take that back.
It's
Slowed is
kind of
not
funny.
a condition. So I think you would need the restorations get rid of conditions, but a dispel magic would
Yep, got it.
would do it.
Dispel magic.
Actually, to tell you the truth, it only lasts for a minute. I won't tax you the the spell slot. Just like after a little while,
Let
he
us-
just sort of snaps
Let
out
us
of it.
help the boy we like, okay? Let us help
Okay.
him.
Or hear me out. We take advantage of this entire minute and have a very good time goofing.
See how
with Xander.
entertaining it is when your friend is in like some kind of situation and you're on the outside of it.
Oh, I'm with
watching
you,
them.
Aiden. I'm with you. But now, shoes on the other foot, and it's time to make fun of Xander. I mean, okay, good. You killed the spider thing. Second, look at you, man. You're slow. You're so slow. You can't even stop any of this.
Karrin, you can poke him with a lesser restoration and then can get him back.
No, let the boys have their fun. Because I know that Xander's probably actually not really all that upset right now.
As soon as I get control of my body, I would like to try to quick slap Rayonde.
I'll just give you a post athletics here. Just Rayonde's like you're running through a forest. You're running through a forest. You're running through a forest. You know.
I got a 19 on it.
Oh, only a 13 for me. Looks like Big Red's getting a slap here, I think.
Yeah. Yep.
You have improved, my friend. That was excellent. Seriously, are you feeling all right?
Yeah, I feel fantastic. I feel great. So are we gonna like investigate maybe?
Yeah, let's
demon?
head back out, see where it was intending on tracking, and savor the moment that we all just witnessed together.
And
would-
maybe when we get further out that way, we can wake him up. And she points up to Peter.
There's like burning like spider web and thing that had like splashed on him that like he is not reacted at all. Or...
Yeah, it's been too long since I've had creature just actively threatening my life with loathing. So, yeah, we should get right on that and wake him up.
I
You
know
see-
you missed it.
Peter is very
Calliope,
friendly, Aiden. I think the problem is you.
Calliope is standing there with her teacup, and she's like, "Oh, you're off to do more heroing. Yes, Todd. Let us know how it turns out. Lovely." And like drinks her tea.
Actually, Kerrin and Karrin are going to turn to her really fast.
Mhm,
We actually came here for a reason. Do you
mhm.
think while we're gone, you could help us track down? And then they start describing the mother and the grandmother and being like giving her a little bit of information about why
Mm.
we ended up out here.
Oh, yes, yes. I'll look into it myself. Mm-hmm.
Actually, if we're making requests, do you have like maybe some bread or mushrooms or anything that I can eat? I'm starving.
It, uh, Astonor just sort of looks at you and he's like, "Oh, what you're looking for ain't bread, mate. You got a little bit of that itch, you see. That's the problem with that. Moderation, lad, is what you got to engage in. That's moderation."
I swear.
Or abstinence. Let's not
Mm.
forget about abstention.
It's you're like some sort of monk now. Oh, I'm abstinent. Right.
Well, yeah, I
Oh,
don't know about the
oh,
absent
oh,
thing.
you really are a monk, mate. Oh, yeah, no, sorry, just apologies. Yeah, I might have a little bit of the old beetle snuff. There you go. Maybe that like twist you up there, but just like careful because it's spicy. It'll catch up on you.
Do you have any like?
I think I'm good, mate. I think I'm good. You keep your beetle stuff.
Be snuff, sneeze in the nostril, snuff, like a little bit, like just like a fingernail. So I grow this one right here. I keep it
I
red
don't
because
need
the
any more
ladies like
detail on how to do drugs
it.
from you, all right? I'm not.
Right.
I snort like a quarter size. So like
Uh,
this much.
give me another wisdom save.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Just so you know, Xander doesn't have a lot of wisdom, so I feel like I'm playing this pretty.
And yet you're making such beautiful choices.
Hey, 17. Thank God. I don't know. Does that work? I don't know.
It's not quite enough because you hit it too hard. Xander, it's just like hot sauce in your brain. It's terrible. Like you didn't know that you were capable of mapping your own sinus passages. That you're like, oh, that goes all those places in my skull. Oh, that's how that works in there. Ah. Hmm.
You gotta try this.
Yeah, you wonder. This must be what it's like when he breathes fire. This must be what it's like, Xander. It's the- Hmm.
I
Okay,
think
remember
we
now
have-
earlier I said that I'd been a poor sport and I was going to give new things a try. So I don't want to do this, but
Oh, but you really should.
I'm going to expand my horizons.
I definitely.
However, do you take it in the quantity recommended of a fingernail's worth?
I mean, how much did Xander take? Like, I mean, and I am a dragon, so I mean, let's double that. Let's take what Xander did and let's double it.
Oh.
You give me a wisdom save, but you can give it to me with advantage because you literally have fireproof nostrils. So
19 is the better of the two rolls.
for you, it's like when you're close to a forest fire or like a campfire, not a forest. Actually, when someone's burning leaves and you get that whiff of it, and you'll like taste it as much as smell it. You know, it is very rustic and woodsy.
Oh, that's earthy. That's earthy.
Yeah.
It's got a bit of a kick on the end. I like that. See, I like that. Thank you, Xander. Thank you, Xander.
I don't think you took enough, actually. So
Astonor just sort of like reaches out and takes his pouch back, and he's like, right. We'll have a little like proper victory party later, like a banquet for our grand heroes. You all,
So why do you want psychics?
what? Excuse me.
Like, it's taken this long, and Aiden has remembered his thought.
Mhm.
You and Calliope were kept, held back, and you're both psychic. What kind of thing wants to hang around with psychics?
I mean, like smart things want to hang
I
around with the
mean,
two of us. She's
sure,
like,
but like
yes,
if
we are
you're
charming, like objectively wonderful.
just evaluating purely on the logical merits, completely agreed. And yet, if you were perhaps nefarious in a less pleasant and fully magnetic and appealing manner, and you wanted psychics, like what for? What manner of creature or villain wants that?
So she got a supernatural 20 on her insight check. So what are you getting at, Aiden? Because you are an open book to her at this exact second.
Love it.
What are you thinking?
Just because both of them have some kind of psychic capability, they're presumably more aware of the psychic food chain than I, a non-psychic but very charming individual, would ever be. So they have a better chance at knowing what would have wanted them based on that factor, as opposed to the various other things about them, like what preys on psychics.
Could we show you something without you thinking less of us?
Uh, I mean, he showed me his knives, so basically we're family.
He's like, oh, you ain't seen the like oh, you meant that, yeah, right. Yeah. um uh come along then, right? He's a little bit out of town, and you gonna bring your like bitey mate here with you also. It might be a little tough to fly him through the trees, but this might be like some sort of like nice like parade through Waterdeep. Like if you had the like frothing beastie, because I saw him when he was still alive, just snapping and biting at nothing in the air. That might like feel like the children might like to see that sort of thing. Just like maybe on holidays, special occasions, you just fly terrible beasts through the streets. Have you thought of that? Like just like giant and fluffy though.
There's some possibilities, I guess. We may yet
Mm.
have some use for Peter Parkour far away from any limbs.
We'll workshop it. All right, come along. And again, Calliope just sort of like stands there in her finery, and she's like, "Ha, ta! We shall see you later. Try to come back alive. I shan't save you again." And Estenor leads you all out towards the edge of town. If you all had essentially arrived directly from the south of the town, he takes you almost directly east, like out into the woods. And he walks for some distance, probably about a half hour or so, and you see several freshly dug graves. You see the graves of their 6 other bandit friends have been properly laid to rest, with little like stone cairns that are built, but no names. Because he's like, right, you see, we sort of had a code that when we put each other in the ground, we don't leave no headstones, so our enemies still got to be afraid of us, you see. And
Yeah.
Like it.
sort of walks a little further than that, and you can see there's a pit that has been dug, and a large fire has been made. And you see a couple of the bone claws are still like down in the bottom of the pit. And he's like, we wasn't sure if like beholders could come back or whatever. We can't really cut off his head because it was nothing but a big head. So like we just figured like we just like burn all of them, and just that was the only way to be sure. We sort of broke that bone claw into bits and burned it, and then the beholder and burned that too, and then scoop up what was left and also burned it.
Ah, yes, the Helene school.
Right. It did seem like a course of action that was largely inspired by you, young miss. That is, you did help us arrive at this conclusion. It was very thorough. And he takes you all a bit further, and there is a cave. What looks like a small one that kind of like clearly goes down into the earth. Maybe it was a mine shaft of some sort in times long past, but it very much is like overgrown, and it is cold here, like out around the grass. The trees are like twisted and gnarled, and he's like, well, this is where those people came to pray for deliverance from whatever it was. I have a sneaking suspicion that whatever summoning they was performing might have helped attract your mate here. But I think they might have gotten the attention of something much, much worse. And that is a good place for us to stop. So join us next week here at the edge of Super Happy Fun Cave, where nothing but like happiness is waiting inside. This might be the long-awaited portal to the plane of ice cream and milkshakes that I've been looking for a long time. I don't know.
There's a whole plane of that.
I know. I said the same thing when I was like, nobody told me that was a thing. But we will find out next week what lay ahead for our heroes. Thank you all for watching. Bye.